vocabulary we need is a review from 6th grade. The first word is mean. So when I taught 6th grade, I told my kids, the mean teacher averages your grades. So what does it mean to average? Thank you, Carter. Thank goodness. Add and then divide. And how do you know what to divide by? Yes. Depends on what your grades are. It's just a silly way to remember mean teacher averages. Okay, so you're going to divide by the number of numbers. So if I gave you the numbers 7, 19, and 15, what would the average be? What do you need to do? Add them up. Y'all have calculators. I don't. What do you get when you add them up? 41? Okay, and then what do you divide by? Divide by 3. And what is the average? Nope, not 10. 1, 14. Brock, use your calculator. Chop, chop. What is it? 13.6 repeating? Okay. So the average is 13.6 repeating. The other word we need to know is mode. Mode is the number that happens the most. M-O-M-O. Mode is most. Mode is the number that happens the most. The last one we need to review is median. Median is the middle. But when you're putting them in middle in order, you have to put them in order. Least to greatest or greatest to least, it doesn't matter. But they have to be in numerical order. So if you looked at the numbers up above that we wrote, what would the median be? What is it? 15. Good. Because if you put them in order, it's 7, 15, 19. And 15 is the median. Do y'all remember doing this? Okay. All right. Now unfold it, and we're going to talk about mean absolute deviation. It's called MAD, M-A-D, mean absolute deviation. We just said that mean means what?
The middle.
Yes, that's correct. Mean means the average. Absolute means absolute value, and absolute value means it's going to be positive. Absolute value is the distance from 0. It's a positive number. And then deviation is just going to be our distance. How far are we from the mean? All right, so mean absolute deviation is the average of the distances between the mean and each individual number. This next part's very, very important. The higher the MAD, or the mean absolute deviation, the more spread are the points. So if the points are super spread out, is that strong or weak? That is a weak association if they're really spread out. So do you think you want a high absolute deviation, mean absolute deviation? No, you want a strong, which means a lower mean absolute deviation. Then it's less spread out, which means it is strong. So you want your points close together, just like on scatter plots. So is everybody okay with what mean absolute deviation is? All right, so now let's figure out how to solve for it. So step 1 is to find the mean or the average. And how did Carter tell us to do that? Yes. Adding them up and then dividing. Yeah. So add them up and then divide. So you want to use the calculator. You don't want to do all this in your head because it's not going to be nice, easy, perfect numbers. When you add them up, what do you get?
I'll add them up and get
28. The next step is to divide. What do you divide by?
7.
Why 7? Very good. What is the average? 4. Again, you learned that in 6th grade. That should be easy. Okay. Now this next part is super easy. It's just tedious. Do you know what that means?
Stupid.
It's meaningless. Like it seems dumb, but it's easy work. It's just, it takes time. So now you want to find the distance that each one is from the mean by subtracting. So you're going to subtract every number from the mean. So let's do that first. Now you don't have to do this every time, but right now I'm showing you what I'm doing. I'm going to do each one. So every single one I'm going to put minus 4. What's 5 minus 4? Everybody, what's 5 minus 1? 4. What's 7 minus 4? 3. What's 2 minus 4? Negative 2. What's 1 minus 4? 3 minus 4? 6 minus 4? 4 minus 4? 0. So all I did was subtract each one, subtract 4 from each one. Everybody good with that? Okay, now we have to take the absolute value. Does anybody know what absolute value is? It's the distance from 0. It's just the positive number. It's how far every number is from 0. So if it's negative, it's a positive. If it's positive, it stays positive. So what's the absolute value of 1? 1. 3. Negative 2. Positive 2. Negative 3. Negative 1. And then 2, 0. That's all it is. You're just taking away the negative sign. Okay, so we found the average. We subtracted the average from all the numbers. And now we're going to do the final step, which is to find the mean of the absolute values. Where did I get what? I subtracted all the numbers. These get subtracted to get those. Okay, so when you add them up, what do you get? You can probably add those in your head. Is 12 my mean absolute deviation? No, I have to divide by 7. Which is what? 1.71. Good. Okay. So it's not hard math, but it is a little bit of a pain, but it's not hard. Okay, so let's do another one. First step is to what? Add them up. When you add, what do you get? Use your calculators. Everybody do it. Don't wait for one person to tell us the answer. Okay, 159 is not the answer because now I have to do what? Okay. What do you get? 31.8. Okay, what's the next step? Subtract, yes. I'm going to subtract 31.8 from each number. Okay, what is 21 minus 31.8? Negative 10.8. Next. Negative 5.8. Next. 14.2. Next. 12.2. And last. Okay. You subtracted what? Oh, yeah. You have to subtract the absolute deviation. Okay, so after you have subtracted, you want to get the what? Absolute value, which just means you want them to be positive. So 10.8, 5.8, 14.2, 12.2. Yeah, you just make them positive. And then what do you think we're going to do? Add them up again. 52.8. And then what's the final step? Divide by what? Very good.
So many steps to this.
I've been thinking for 5 minutes and I couldn't think of a real situation I would use this.
What is this for? Like, what are you even solving for right now?
You're trying to figure out how far each number is away from the average. So when you're trying out for teams, a lot of times they will average your points of however they're judging, and they find the break in the middle, and then they want to see how close you are. Like if you're way out of the range, then you shouldn't be on the team. But if everybody's really close, like this is a really high mean absolute deviation. You want it to be low. You want it to be close. So you're just trying to figure out how far it is from the average. Okay? All right, last one. First step is to what? Anybody?
10.8.
Guys, I'm waiting on y'all to be done talking so that we can finish our notes. What's the first step? Add. Thank you. Add those numbers up for me quickly. And everybody's using their calculator to add. PJ, have you added them?
I got it. 390.
390. Okay, after you add, we want to divide. We want to divide by 5 because there are 5 days. The average is 78. What's the next step? Subtract. If you want to take out the step and not write the negatives, that's fine. Like if you just want to go ahead and write the absolute value first, that's fine. 80 minus 78. 77 minus 78. It's negative 1. 79 minus 78. 78 minus 78. And 76 minus 78. And then what do you want to do? Add those up. You don't need a calculator. What is that? Yeah, but I said I was taking out the absolute value step because I knew I'm changing it. 6 over. You don't have to show that extra step, but you have to always use the positive.
Why do we do 6 over 1?
Well, what's 2 plus 1 plus 1 plus 2? Okay, and there's 5 numbers. And the answer is 1.2. Okay, now in case you didn't hear, Brock was asking why I didn't make these negative. They technically are negative, but I just took out the absolute value step because I, in my head, already changed them to positives. Okay? Is this hard? No.